Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your TWitWoW monthly, or not even monthly, TWitWoW Five Fave Fives. We don't do this shit monthly, we do this every couple months now. And it is Five Fave Fives, and we have got lists for you all to enjoy. We have got a WWE list, we've got an NXT list, we've got a New Japan list, we've got a Stardom list, we've got an other list, and then we've also got a Universal Top 10 borderless, every promotion, who are the top 10 wrestlers that we enjoy the most right now. John, how are you feeling about Fave Fives this time around, my friend?
It's interesting, man. It's interesting. You know, this is my favorite commentary that we do that has not changed. What has changed, however, are quite a few of my lists.
Same.
Yeah, I would say, just to give you guys a little teaser, that my New Japan list, I wouldn't even necessarily say is the weirdest, but it was like the hardest for me to put together because obviously I feel disconnected from the promotion right now. I'm sure some of you feel the same after Sakura Genesis. I'm most excited to share with you guys my NXT Fave 5, but I'm just ready to go, man. I love when you and I can just sit back, celebrate what we love about wrestling, and let's get to it, starting with our main roster WWE Fave 5.
Well, I was going to say, as far as NXT goes, my top two from last time are both still also in my top two. They're just not in the same order. That said, though, I think the biggest shakeup that I'm realizing here, my number one in my Universal list this time wasn't even in it last time.
Ooh, that's very interesting.
So let's get into our WWE lists. Do you want me to go first or you for our honorable mentions?
You can go first, brother.
Sure. Going from the bottom up, Billie Kay, who is no longer going to be with WWE going forward, so I really wanted to just squeeze her in here to make sure that I acknowledged how damn good she was. Sheamus, believe it or not, I feel like he's been doing great work lately. Apollo Crews and Big E both. Bayley, Damian Priest, Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Sasha Banks.
Okay, I just want to note that I really was conscious of my honorable mentions this time, so I read them off from most likely to make the list, like they just missed the list, to I like them, but they're not close to the list at this time.
Okay.
Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Jey Uso.
Okay.
Big E. Edge. Sasha Banks. Bobby Lashley. Asuka. Apollo Crews. Bayley. And Alpha Academy.
Nice. I dig it, man. I dig it. And especially because, since we're kind of continuing this here, the last name that you just mentioned there, Alpha Academy, is actually number 5 on my Fave 5.
Amazing. All right, talk about it, man.
I've just really been enjoying their work. And it's like, this is one of those, I had a hard time making this list, not because there was so much competition, but because I was really struggling to think of what I actually enjoyed on WWE programming. And like the top 3 were really easy for me, and then 4 and 5 were a little more of a struggle. And I was like, do I really want to go there? Do I really want to do this? And I just went with it. And Alpha Academy are apparently just the act that makes me the 5th most excited to watch in WWE on their main roster programming. So I'm loving the chemistry that they have. I love the new kind of heelish side of Otis. Gable has always been a favorite of mine. I know he's always been a favorite of yours too. So yeah, I just am really digging the dynamic, and I hope that they win Tag Gold soon.
Absolutely. Coming in at number 5 for me, and maybe you could even argue should be higher, but I like how the rest of my list came out. Sami Zayn.
Nice.
I just am fucking adoring this dude. I have adored this dude for quite some time. It's funny. I know Sami Zayn, when he was a babyface in NXT, he didn't quite click for me. I always respected him in the ring, and the promos were good, but this, like, there's a genuine investment here to the point where I keep thinking about, because Kevin Owens has been saying, I want to knock sense into Sammy. I want the old Sammy back. I think I'm ready for the old Sammy to come back too. And I want him to feud with Roman Reigns. Because when you've got a really good babyface against a really good heel, everybody makes money in that situation. And we profit from it in a very different kind of way by being just thoroughly entertained. This dude to me is untouchable. This dude to me, it's amazing to me that Sammy has tapped into kind of the just the collective mindset of the country at present with the conspiratorial stuff. Yep. And he's not necessarily like alt-light or anything, like he hasn't towed that line, but he is representing a very real, very raw part of the country at present. I think it's so easy to fumble the bag in a gimmick like that, right? Like either put your foot in your mouth or something like that. But it has consistently been gold. And, and that's why I am sympathetic to your critiques, like more on the babyface side with Kevin Owens, because it's like, oh, you're trying to de-radicalize him through force. And, if you really wanted to go there is a topic to be said there. And that's why, again, we always say we miss Lucha Underground. I feel like Lucha Underground with a storyline like this would have really gone there, right? Would have really gone balls deep with like, oh my God, he's getting further and further radicalized. How do we de-radicalize him like this, et cetera, et cetera. Now, while WWE isn't going to go there, I feel like Sammy, for what he's been able to do with this gimmick, has been one of the best gimmicks in my mind of the year. And again, I think because it taps into something so real that we're watching unfold and seemingly only grow stronger as time goes on. And if the old Sammy were to come back, I don't even think it would be the old Sammy, like right down to the letter. I think Sammy is the type of performer that's constantly evolving, unlike other performers we know. Champa. So I feel like Sammy feuding with the Roman that we have now, if that would be Endgame. I mean, hell, Kevin wanting the old Sammy back, I would even love to see Sammy win Money in the Bank this year. Just because the work that he's done with this gimmick has been so goddamn stellar. And I still, before I hand it back to you for number 4, say that WWE is missing a huge opportunity if they do not make the documentary a network special on Peacock. Because I would unironically watch that shit. I will keep saying it.
We might even live react to it, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, if they do something, we should. Because I 100% would. And if they don't, shame on you for not maximizing a gimmick. You've given Elias, 2 albums? Give this dude a fucking faux documentary. It'll be gold.
A mockumentary.
Exactly. Give him a mockumentary. It will be freaking gold. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Who is number 4 on your Fave 5?
Well, number 4 on my Fave 5 was another one that I wasn't really sure about, but I just wanted to really go with an act that just made me happy and gave me enjoyment and that I really loved seeing on my TV screen. Even though we don't see him every single week, my number 4 is the Riot Squad, man.
Excellent.
I really enjoy just seeing them on my TV. They're really good workers. They had a few sloppy moments at WrestleMania, but I loved the way that they worked together. I love their chemistry as a tag team. I love that they actually have 2 different tag team finishers that both can work depending on the opponent. I just really, and really just as individual performers, I absolutely adore Ruby Riott. I think she's so just criminally underutilized. It's painful.
Yes.
Morgan is entering that goddamn territory too. She's getting really, really freaking good to the point that I want to just start seeing what she can do in singles programs with champion level talent. That's I'm curious how damn good she really is, because just from getting glimpses of her in these tag matches, it seems like she's really freaking good.
Absolutely, brother. I completely agree with you. Yeah. With that said, number 4 for me, keeping up the women trend, Bianca Belair.
Oh, wow. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, the prediction that I told my mom that I wanted to get her to confirm, if I got it right, I thought you'd have Bianca number 1 on your WWE list.
Oh, no, that's coming. I think you'll be surprised who number 1 did come out to be. But Bianca Belair, I mean, what is there to say? I've loved her. I've loved her a long time, ever since her NXT days when you could see that she was really starting to develop. She, to me, is a quintessential moneymaker because I think her aesthetic is marketable, her merch, the whole EST thing. I mean, they were able to make EST out of WrestleMania. You can't spell WrestleMania without EST. Brilliant. This woman is a marketing machine waiting to happen, and for once, I think WWE knows it because they just had her win the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania and become the women's champion. I mean, this woman, she's Hall of Fame bound to me. I really think she's going to be one of those people that when WWE is doing their specials on women's wrestling and their women's division, Bianca Belair is going to be a spotlight for them, for sure. I am so excited for her title reign. I think in ring, she is fucking solid. Told a great fucking story with Sasha Banks, and not to discredit Banks, she is a master storyteller in that ring. It takes 2. Bianca's promos, I think, are very sincere, while also memorable. Again, I keep thinking about that line, my mom told me be the bigger person now so you can be the better person later, stuff like that. I just love how she carries herself as a character. We've seen a lot more in recent years, pro-black in a way gimmicks, or gimmicks that are just unapologetically black that don't veer into stereotypes. And Bianca, I think, might be the best of that bunch, honestly. She is insanely talented. You know, when we think about the releases today, the exciting thing artistically is like, well, where are they going to go? And I look at a talent like Bianca, and I'll always say that I wish we could have seen what she could have done in a Stardom ring against the really premier women's wrestlers of the world today, in my opinion.
Well, we got a taste of it at WrestleMania because she faced one of the premier women's wrestlers in the world today in Sasha Banks.
Yeah, and it was fucking stellar.
Yep.
So, Bianca Belair, easy number 4 for me on Five Fave Five. I hand the baton back to you, sir, who is number 3, getting in the top 3 now for WWE in your Fave 5.
I don't know if you noticed, but I actually did have Bianca on my honorable mention as well as Sasha. But to me, I think Bianca has actually surpassed Sasha in the promo realm. I think she's gotten better than Sasha at promos. Maybe just because I hate how Sasha's promos have been lately. But man, Sasha is still just the absolute best when it comes to the in-ring stuff. Number 3, though, on my list is somebody that you've already mentioned. And you said people would say that you should have had him higher. Well, I did. Sami Zayn is number 3 on my list. This was easy.
That's fucking awesome.
Dude, I'm telling you, numbers 1, 2, and 3 were so easy for me. I filled out number 1 right away, and then immediately was like, okay, well, now I have to put this person at number 2. And then I thought for maybe a second and a half, and I was like, okay, number 3's got to be Sami. Because when I really think about the segments in WWE that I enjoy the most, number 1 is the guy that I have at number 1. I shouldn't say guy, but number 1 is the person I have at number 1. Number 2 is the person I have at number 2. And number 3 is Sami Zayn. Number 3, the guy just entertains his ass off. Like the way that we were talking about Asuka last year in the early going of the pandemic era, I feel like that is the level of like over the top extra overtime that Sami Zayn has been putting in to be entertaining over the course of the last couple months. He has been so on fire, so good, so fun, so funny, so ridiculous, so extra. And as we saw on Mania Night 2, he's still goddamn excellent in the ring.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, dude. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. All right. With that said, number 3 for me, I'm taking a swing. It's Cesaro.
I knew Cesaro would be on your list.
He is so goddamn good right now, and I shouldn't even let's press pause right now. Motherfucker, he's been good his entire WWE tenure. I just think now the company is really letting him show it against the premier talent and actually pushing him for it. That's the difference, because they've even let him brush shoulders with like John Cena and stuff. But he's never the winner, right? At WrestleMania, he finally got to be the winner, and I can't tell you how exciting that is for a long-time Cesaro fan. Now, I ain't going front, guys. There was a period of resignation for me. I said, okay, Cesaro's in his late 30s, now he's 40. And he's a really good tag team guy. He's a very good hand, but not in the condescending way that Cody said about Shawn Spears, but like that really reliable guy, always going to give you a great match, always going to make the other guy look like $1 million. But it's over. It's just over. And then Seth Rollins happened. And then WrestleMania happened. And it was a great freaking match. In my opinion, personally, kind of underrated by some people for their best matches for Mania weekend. Just me. Because I thought it was absolutely stellar. And it made Cesaro really look like a major player. More than when he beat Orton that one time on Smackdown when Orton was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. More than when he's taken John Cena to the limit. Him beating Rollins at a WrestleMania to me was like, okay, if this guy isn't fighting Roman Reigns even at SummerSlam for the Universal Championship, something wrong is happening here. I want to see him against Roman Reigns. In fact, I was even thinking today while working out, because you know I get pumped for Five Fave Fives and I think about what I want to say about each guy. Everybody knows Money in the Bank's my favorite pay-per-view. So I'm thinking of all the guys that I would pop to see win. Cesaro would make me pop big. Not only that, though, because it's been a while since this has been done, I would want Cesaro to tell Roman when he's going to cash in. Do that RVD shit. Let him know when it's coming. And why? Because Cesaro has said he loves wrestling. Why cheapen the craft by taking your first world championship? Nah. You let Roman know it's coming. And Roman, because we know he's a very insecure heel that projects an image of strength and dominant masculinity and all that. Can you imagine how unnerved he'd be by a guy, the ability of Cesaro, telling him to his face, oh yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming at this exact date. And then the talking smack segment with Heyman
too. There's the X Factor of Heyman.
Yeah, dude, Heyman is so good at putting Roman's opposition over because when Roman can't show the fear, Heyman will. Heyman will absolutely. I'm just an advocate.
Heyman has already managed Cesaro.
Yeah, and they could talk about that, and Cesaro could be like, it's a real shame that I didn't get the Roman treatment. What was so wrong with me, Paul? And you could even see the intensity up in his voice, and Heyman kind of receding into himself, like, I won it. I want Cesaro to be that bitch, to be like, hey, other people, because you are you, would probably look to pick the bones, but I want to see if I can beat you straight up one-on-one. And he tells him, and that would even freak out Jey Uso, too, because he's probably thinking, like, well, I'm going to run interference, right? I'm going to land, but Cesaro doesn't care. Like, that's the kind of beast to me that Cesaro is, that if he wins Money in the Bank, because I am eyeing him, although I have said, and I'll go on record as saying again, Jey Uso to me is my current favorite. If Cesaro wins, he is the one guy that absolutely needs to do a clean cash-in. Because to me, it would be fundamentally wrong for the character to do anything other than that. But because this is Five Fave Fives, I'll stop talking about Money in the Bank for the moment and just say that Cesaro's matches have been stellar. His promos, especially like on Talking Smack, and when he's talking about this opportunity with Rollins, have been getting better. I would say they've gone from great to good. I don't really cringe or like wince anymore. Like, oh, Cesaro, I wish you would have said this instead of this. He is improving, and that's amazing at the late stage of his career. And it's resuscitated my hopes, however briefly, that maybe, just maybe, this guy can get one world title run before he hangs it up in the company. Cesaro was an easy number 3. He's been having a stellar quarter. So I'm going to hand it back to you, brother. Who's next on your list?
I love it. All right, next up on my list, number 2, again, it was easy, Daniel Bryan.
Nice, man, nice.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get a little more of a reaction from you. I feel like Bryan's been number 1 for me for so long. It could have come off as a little bit of a shock that I had him at number 2 here, but Bryan, and I think this is another like kind of conflict point with us and Javaris. I just fucking love Daniel Bryan, man. Like, Javaris is bitching about Bryan and talking about how Bryan's been such a bitch lately and stuff like that, and I'm just like, or it's just awesome. Like, that's just how I feel. I just love Bryan so much. I love his work. I love his promos. I love his he is truly like probably the most. He and AJ Styles, I think, are the most complete performers in WWE, and the difference is Bryan isn't problematic that we know of. So Bryan is a really, really strong candidate for number 1, but I just had to put the person that I have at number 1 over him. So I love Bryan, but he actually got knocked down a peg on this one.
Hey, man, that's understandable. SmackDown's just brimming with talent, so if you notice, I haven't named a single Raw person in the actual Fave Fives.
Oh, dude. Neither have I, and I won't either. All 5 of my Fave 5 was all SmackDown.
Yeah, and I was about to say on my end, and that streak continues because number 2 is Roman Reigns.
Who the hell is number 1?
So, Roman has been absolutely killing it lately for anybody that has a functioning television or an internet connection, if you like his tweets and shit. To me, it's funny. It would be enough to say that this is the best work of Roman's career, and that's true. That, to me, is true. I would assent to that fact. Roman's one of the best heels in wrestling generally right now. And that's the thing. Like, look, you guys know that I have personally come on here, and I have advocated for the MJFs, the Jay Whites, and this and that. And they're still solid. But Roman's in another league. Because the way, like, it's not just even him, it's the machinery behind him. It's Paul Heyman, who has been rehabilitated running with Roman. Heyman, I got tired of Heyman after a while. Now, I love him all over again. Jey Uso, man, his character development interwoven with this story has been fantastic. And then there's Roman. There's this guy who you really like. He's always been such a confounding figure because we know he's good. Let's make something clear right now. We've always known that Roman Reigns is good. The problem is we always thought that Roman should be used in a particular way at a particular time. And WWE didn't want to listen to the rhythms. They were like, no, he's this babyface or he's this or he's that. Roman was never the problem. I feel like it was always what everybody else wanted Roman to be that was the problem. But now you can see just how great Roman is when everything comes into harmony. everything comes together where we're all agreeing, like, yes, this is where he should be at this particular time, and he seems to agree with it because he seems to be having the time of his freaking career, and it just works. I have actively rooted for this man to lose the title, especially in the Kevin Owens feud, which I think was still some of his finest work. The promo he cut before Mania, just saying, like, I'm not going to puff my chest out like Edge or Bryan. Like, I know who I am. I'm going to stack him. I'm going to pin him. And he did exactly that. And just everything. Right down to, and I keep going back to this in all those feuds, the body language. You say one thing into the mic, but when somebody confronts you and your eyes avert for just that second to the canvas, your body says another. He's so good at all of it, at freaking all of it. And you and I have said on Facebook, and I will reiterate until either that belt retires or something fucking happens to change my mind, Roman Reigns is the best Universal Champion that championship has ever freaking had. I've made my case. Take the baton to round out your main roster Fave 5. Who came in at number 1 for you?
Well, I'll take the baton to round out the Roman Reigns praise because he's my number 1.
Abs-fucking-lutely. Finish it, brother.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we talk about how he's the best heel in wrestling today. And when I say that, I don't just mean from a pure performance standpoint. He's also the best booked heel in wrestling today. Because Roman Reigns, amazing performer, great promos as a heel, great in-ring work as a heel. And the most important thing to me is the way that he's being portrayed as a heel. He is both a monster heel and a cowardly heel at the same time somehow. He comes off as a monster. In the build of the match, he's a badass, he's intimidating, he's scary, but he only puffs his chest out when he knows that the other dude isn't going to bite back right away. And when he does feel like the other dude's going to bite back, he runs away. Or he hides behind Jey Uso, or he hides behind stipulations and his clout with the company, that kind of. Or he cheats. He cheats a lot more now, too. So he is out here cutting these great promos, burying his opponents, and then in the match, he makes them look like $1 million. Makes them look amazing, makes them look like they could beat him on any day, and he has to luck basically into beating them. I don't know, man. I just think the combination of the performer and the production and the presentation have really just aligned. It's like a fucking lunar eclipse. It's just perfect. Roman, the stars have aligned for you, and I'm glad that you have the talent to make it work, and you're just the best thing going in WWE right now. Easily, to me.
All right. Well, you made it, kid. You finally made it. Number 1 on my Fave 5 is Daniel Bryan.
Oh my God, I finally moved him down from 1 and you put him there.
And now it's even bigger for me because I don't know if Bryan has ever made a Fave 5 of mine, and if he has, he's always ranked probably at 5 or just incredibly low. I think I've at least relegated him to honorable mentions, and there may have even been lists where he didn't even make honorable mentions. Because here's the thing.
He was number 1 on your WWE Fave 5 on January 1st of 2019.
So it's been a while then, at least.
Yeah. Oh, see, and on April 11th, 2019. I think this was when he had his, like the Warrior of the Earth kind of gimmick.
Yeah, well, that heel content was so hard to ignore. But as a babyface, though, he's always hit different for me.
Yeah.
If I can just get my momentum going here, extolling his praise. Because I've realized that Bryan is one of those guys, and I've said this before, that's so good at what he does, you take it for granted. You just kind of assume that, well, yeah, it is what it is. And he would probably even say that, yeah, I just kind of tend to blend into the background. This Bryan, though, don't give a fuck. And that's why I love that everybody's been angry about how he's been written, because I'm sitting here thinking, I've been waiting for him to be written like this for a long time. Because this is a guy, he has said, before Brie and Birdie and the family that he made came into his life, he loved nothing more than wrestling. You could see the backstage photos of when he had to announce it when he was retired. He collapsed in Gorilla just sobbing, not wanting to give it up, and he couldn't take that no for an answer, and he fought to get it back. Something that, again, I think, and I'll speak for myself here so as not to project, I took for granted. So when he comes out here and he says, that whole laying down thing and helping other people, it's important, and I'm happy to do it, but it's not really going to work for me. And everybody just went, oh. Because, see, what I'm starting to see here is that everybody really liked Bryan when he was putting everybody else over. When he was advocating for everybody in the locker room, like Kofi, like Big E. And make no mistake about it, they 1,000% deserve to be advocated for, because we know the WWE machine doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. But it's real funny to me that kind of changed when Bryan would puff his chest out and say, I am pretty fucking good at this wrestling thing. And all the while, I can say to myself, welcome home, where the hell have you been? Because this is what I've wanted. I've wanted the guy that knows he can out-wrestle everybody and not be a dick about it, but just do it. I've wanted the guy that when Jey Uso gets the bottom rope, he doesn't break the hold because he doesn't have to, and I am a rule-abiding guy, and he taps out anyway. I've wanted the guy that Roman Reigns can try and chuck a chair at him, he averts it, and then he knees him in the fucking face, and then as Roman's trying to crawl away, realizing that yes, indeed, mistakes have been made, he gets the yes lock put in on him as he passes out. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about the writing of Daniel Bryan, because let's be clear and charitable to the critics, I think Javaris is a Daniel Bryan fan, absolutely. He just hates how he's been written by creative. Fine, maybe to a point I can get that. You want strong justifications for why a guy is in a title picture. But I love that Bryan really doesn't give a shit what any of us think. I love that Bryan says, hey, I love wrestling, and if it's coming down for me, my love letter to the industry that has been my reason for living for pretty much the entirety of my adult life, I want to be world champion just one more time. I love stories like that. Bryan, to me, has never been more relatable to me as a person and my passions and my ambitions than the man he is right now. Not a dick, not a jerk, just a guy that owns what he loves and owns how good he is at what he loves and is tired of waiting in the back of the line. And if that bothers some people, I don't know. Maybe look inward and ask why that is. But for me, I love it, and to be perfectly honest, if he keeps being in the title picture every goddamn month when you're as good as he is, maybe that's not the worst thing. So that's my praise to Daniel Bryan there. That rounds out our WWE Fave Five.
Wow.
Yeah. So now we begin with NXT. I cannot wait for this, and because you went first on the last one, I will go first on this one.
Awesome.
So my honorable mentions, and again, to reiterate to everybody, this goes from person who just missed the cut to I like them, but they're not quite there yet. MSK, Ember and Shotzi, Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Bebe, Io Shirai, and Indy Hartwell.
Nice. I think my NXT honorable mentions are in less order than my other ones, but I think they still generally trend from low to high, so like the opposite of what you did.
Yes.
Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, Gigi Dolan, Saray, Mercedes Martinez, Frankie Monet, Dakota Kai, Jesse Kamea, Robert Stone, Indy Hartwell, Santos Escobar, and Grizzled Young Vets.
Excellent. Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Hold on. I'm just scolding Alex in the chat. Give me a second.
Oh, no. What did he say?
No. What? So Adam Cole didn't make this yet. Oh.
Alex, whatever John says, I rebuke it. You're wonderful and you do whatever you want.
Okay, well, with that said, brother, number 5 on my NXT Fave 5, Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Wow.
I ain't going front here. This is exclusively from NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. His performance in that gauntlet was fucking fire. And it actually reminded me how good he is. Because again, I've even explained to you, Ashton, one reason why I hated him going heel was I felt that he would be more handcuffed from an in-ring standpoint, because all the stuff that he used to do, well, that makes the crowd pop, and you shouldn't want to make a crowd pop as a heel. The idea that he still got to show out and be like, yeah, I am that fucking good. Like, damn, bruh, if you are not a future Cruiserweight champion, I mean, fuck that. If you're not a future North American champion, at least, the system has failed you. Just undeniably, it has failed you. I'm going to keep this one brief because I really don't have much to say because it was kind of a weird quarter for Swerve. But that gauntlet match, if you guys haven't seen it, and I know everybody in this chat has, so it doesn't really bear saying, but anybody that may come to listen to this after, if you haven't seen the gauntlet match, you should. Swerve was the MVP of that fucking thing. He should be the MVP of NXT, to be quite honest, but we're not quite there yet. Maybe one day. So, who is number 5 on your NXT Fave 5?
Number 5 for me is one of your honorable mentions, Ember and Shotzi.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Ember was actually on my Fave 5 last time, and now she's joined by another performer that I really like in Shotzi Blackheart as the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. I love the act. I love that they already have pretty good chemistry with each other. I love that apparently they're actually friends in real life. And I just, I'm just a big fan of both of them individually as performers. So them coming together as a team made it really easy to kind of get more bang for my spot here in my number 5 slot.
Excellent. Number 4 for me, Grizzled Young Vets.
Nice.
Really, to me, I love MSK. But the reason why I feel like GYV made the list and MSK were just there on the borderline, I just love GYV's tag team psychology. They are the closest thing to the Revival that NXT has, again, since losing the actual Revival. And they're just such a great package deal. James Drake, excellent defensive kind of partner, always breaking up pins, this and that. Zach Gibson, the talker. I'm curious if James Drake has promo chops. That is one thing I am curious about with GYV, because I'm not so sure about that. But honestly, the one big disagreement I have from Stand and Deliver, which I just kind of suppressed because I love the fucking match, I would have had GYV become the tag champions. I really would have. MSK pinning them twice, I don't agree with. I feel like these are the guys that you could get so much heat on for the tag division. And heat can be just as compelling, if not more compelling, than just being a really, really exciting team, which I feel like MSK is. But, like, you want to see a champion lose. It's why champions 90% of the time seem to be heels. I mean, you've made the exact point before. So, and I'm just in complete agreement with you. I hope Grizzled Young Veterans are our next NXT Tag Team Champions. Who even knows, though, because MSK honestly seems to have their number. And, I'm really looking forward to the future for them. And if they ever go to Raw or Smackdown, which I could absolutely see, if New Day is still doing tag team wrestling at that point, which I'm assuming they will, WWE doesn't seem to have any patch for possibility for them doing anything else, those will be some banger fucking matches. So, who's next on your list?
MSK.
All right, talk about it.
I mean, yeah, I think that TakeOver really solidified it for me. MSK are, I think, my favorite tag team in NXT. Which it's nice to know that they are the tag team champions as well. That's pretty cool that my favorite team are the champs. Wesley is fucking ridiculous. Nash Carter is damn good in his own right, but Wesley especially is insane. And really, I don't even really have that much more to say. They're just a really fun team. I mean, you already kind of mentioned how fun they are when you were talking about GYV. I love GYV too, which is why they were so close to making my Fave 5, but MSK just kind of edged them out, you know?
Yeah. All right. And number 3 for me, this is where it gets really good. And Foster, I know I sent you to your room, but I'm glad you didn't listen to me because I didn't want you here for this. Number 3 is Dexter Lumis.
Nice.
I am loving this dude right now. I've really been a fan for quite a while, but never like, Fave 5, I don't know. But, top 3 material right here. I love that he actually seems like he's genuinely unnerving, but maybe he really is, because I always thought when Foster would be like, oh, he's misunderstood, and look, guys, he made new friends in the tag match, we're so happy for him. I'm like, oh my god, Foster, you are already so adorable, please, my heart is about to burst, don't go any further. But he might actually be onto something. Because, oh man, just the way that he interacts with people, it's never really malevolent. Although if they wanted to make a heel out of him, oh my god, do I see a top heel potential in him. Because he's got the look, he's got the vibe, just everything going. But as a face, it surprisingly works. I root for this dude. I think all this dude wants is to, maybe win a championship here and there. He's clearly got ambition. Go home, maybe shine up his title, and then doodle in his sketch pad. Does this man not deserve a life of simplicity? And you know, like, obviously he's a hit with the ladies. Indy Hartwell was literally carried off by him. People ship it, so people want him in relations. And yeah, it's a great time for him. So I'm looking forward to him being our next North American champion. And if NXT doesn't do that, well, you're wrong. I'm not. Fuck you. So who's next on your Five Fave Five?
Well, I think that I'm about to name somebody that's going to be in your top 2. We'll see. But my number 3 is Johnny Gargano, believe it or not.
Excellent. Talk about it.
Yeah. Well, Gargano has just been fucking hilarious lately. I mean, his matches have been really, really good too. But I mean, he got an interesting match out of Bronson Reed. Like, if that doesn't speak volumes, good Lord. Gargano's been great lately. And really, I think it's the promos that have really got him this high on my list. He's just hilarious. Like the Cuckoo Bananas thing, the first time I heard it, it absolutely killed me. It slayed. And like, he might be starting to use it a lot more lately, but I still don't feel like it's gotten old yet. And frankly, if it does get old, then good for him for being a good heel and annoying people. Like, that's his job. So props. Just been love Gargano's work lately. It's that simple.
All right, number 2 for me, Santos Escobar. I mean, this fucking sex pot, am I right? Jesus Christ. Like, here's the thing, Ashton. I have to just have a quick sidebar with you here because I feel like we had it all wrong. Because I know the dream at one time was to wake up as Adam Cole. It should have been waking up as Escobar the whole time. And look, I don't fault us because he was hiding that under a mask for a long time, so we couldn't have known, right? But see, now we do. So clearly the bar has been raised exponentially here. But in all seriousness, not only is this man legitimately handsome to the point where I have a lot of questions, mainly about myself, but also he is a fantastic promo. He made, to give a parallel, especially to you guys that watch Stardom, he did for the Cruiserweight title what I believe Shuri is currently doing for the SWA title, or was in the process of doing. It seems like it's kind of cooled down a bit. He made it seem like a worthwhile title to pursue. He made it seem like, oh, if I win this title, I've done something. And that's because he always talked about it with the utmost respect and reverence. He held the damn thing for nearly a year, 320 days before Kushida had to end it. And again, I do wish Kushida well, and I hope he can continue on that work. But Escobar, to me, is the complete freaking package. He can cut promos. I've already talked about his look endlessly. He can go in the ring. Like, to me, this dude is, quite honestly, world championship material. I hope one day he is a future NXT champion if he sticks around that long. If he goes to the main roster, you may be looking at one of the best Intercontinental or U.S. champions that mid-card title has had in the last few years. And if WWE is really bold, they will pull the trigger, they'll put a world title on him, and then they'll really see him off to the races. I think Legado del Fantasma, LDF, has been an amazing faction. I wish that Mendoza and Wilde would have held the tag titles alongside Escobar, but I like that he doesn't maltreat them. I like that he doesn't abuse them. I like that he doesn't even scold them for their shortcomings. Like, they didn't win the tag titles at Stand and Deliver, and you didn't see Escobar cut a promo right before losing the Cruiserweight title saying, you know, guys, unlike me, you lost your matches at TakeOver, and then he gets humbled. No, he keeps it about the tradition. He keeps it about the legado, the legacy.
Hell yeah.
And I love that. It's such a different take for a clearly heel faction leader, and we might be getting ready to see Santos be babyface. And to be honest, again, I don't know how you can boo that, and if you do, at the risk of being a major asshole, that is a you problem. Just undoubtedly, 100%, okay? That is a you problem that isn't Escobar's responsibility to deal with. All he's responsible for is himself and his actions, neither of which your emotions fall under the purview of. So, check yourself before you wreck yourself staring at that magnificence. So, I yield the floor. Who's next on your NXT Fave 5?
Is this number 2?
This should... Santos, yes, was number 2 for me, yes.
Bro, are you ready for this?
I think I am.
For the first time in over 2 years, Io Shirai is not my number 1 in NXT.
damn, she'd be losing everything. Her championship and now her number one spot. But whoever took it really had to be something. So I am really curious.
She is my number 2. Io is my number 2. That's why I'm doing this now. Because the last time that Io was not number 1 was April 11th, 2019. And she was number 3 on that list.
Damn.
Io is really, like, if we're talking about, like, general, like, overall, like, taking entire careers into consideration, I really do think Io is my favorite wrestler in the world. Like, maybe even one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Maybe even my favorite wrestler ever at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just taking the, like, 2.5 months or so worth of wrestling content that we've consumed since our last Fave 5, I just knocked her a little bit because I just feel like she hasn't been given much to do that's interesting to me. She's still an exceptional performer. Her promos are still way better than they have any right to be, given how little English she knows. And her in-ring is second to none. She just is the best in-ring worker in the WWE. Maybe in the world as far as women go. I'd say at least top 3 or 4 in the world as far as women go. And, I mean, shit, the match she had with Raquel Gonzalez was even good. And I personally think Raquel is a green shitter. So, you know, Io is just magical. And, you know, if it wasn't for how insanely enthralled I've been with my number 1 in recent weeks and maybe recent months, Io would have had the number 1 spot on lockdown easily, even though she's been given so much less interesting stuff to do over this grading period.
All right. I'm really curious what number 1's going to be, but we got to wait a little bit longer. Number 1 for me, and I really thought about this last night putting this list together, and especially in my Universal Top 10, which we'll get to that at the end of the video, Johnny Gargano.
Yep, I listed him already. I typed him out before you said his name.
Yeah, like... Can we just take a second, though, to appreciate how amazing that is?
Yep.
Like, this was a guy that was genuinely really annoying me. And you could say, like, that's a job and this and that, but I internalized it more as, like, go away heat. Not, I want to see him get beat heat, because just everything he was doing was annoying me. And now, like, he just makes me smile and grin like an idiot whenever he's on TV. Like, I saw his exclusive with The Way, where Austin Theory's got a deeper voice because, like, his ribs were crushed. And Mackenzie's trying to get the tea from Indy. And Johnny's like, this isn't your girl time. What is this? And Candace called the police. And is calling the police on Dexter Lumis. And she's like, how is this the first time you're hearing about this? And apparently on Johnny's Twitter, Mackenzie tweeted, I guess Johnny got Indy's phone. Because she texted Indy like, okay, are you ready to spill the tea on Dexter Lumis? Or are you guys boyfriend and girlfriend? And Johnny, posing as Indy, said, here's the tea. You are cuckoo bananas. You're not even a real journalist, and, like, all this stuff.
Yeah.
His matches have still been stellar. And, again, like, it bears repeating on a serious note. Unlike his DIY counterpart, Johnny has shown a willingness to evolve. He went from this heel that's like, screw you guys because we cheered when Finn Balor beat the fuck out of him, and all this stuff, to now he's a goofier heel, still can go in the ring, and I love that. See, because that is one thing I don't like about comedy wrestlers most of the time, and I see that trend slowly starting to change, is that the comedy extends to what they do in the ring to where I really can't see them go. I'd rather the comedy be, either just in segments, which can be physically based, I have no problem with that, on the mic, but in the ring, especially when you're a champion, you go. And Johnny is perfect for that because he literally calls himself Johnny Wrestling. I think The Way has been a gift to NXT. He's even found a way to make Austin Theory tolerable to me in small doses. And yeah, this Johnny, honestly, I would not mind seeing be NXT champion again. Because if he's like Ciampa, where it's like, no, NXT's my home, and I want to stay and build this Johnny Gargano, I can get behind being world champion because I would just be invested in every feud wondering, like, who the hell is going to take it off of this guy with The Way behind him and him just being genuinely good at what he does. So Johnny is number 1, and I guess you could say that I've found The Way. But enough about me and enough about Johnny. Thank you.
Dude, I almost put The Way on my list, and then I realized I don't like all of The Way. I only specifically like Johnny and Indy. And so I put Indy in my honorable mentions, and Johnny was number 3 on my list. So, yeah.
Excellent. But now,
yes,
I gotta know. The world's gotta know.
This person, it's just really, at the end of the day, it might be some residual Lucha Underground pixie dust still rubbing off on this guy, but Isaiah Swerve Scott has just been fucking doing it for me lately, man. His performance at TakeOver, even the singles match that he had with Bronson Reed, where he actually beat him recently. Wait, did he beat him? I forget, honestly, but the one where he did, it might have even been the gauntlet match now that I'm thinking about it, is the one where he did the 3 like crazy like jump kicks that he does, or went for 3 and he missed the third one or something like that. Like that whole
that was the gauntlet. That was
just so fucking good. And now the promos that he's been cutting, and like the fact that he actually managed to beat Leon Ruff, it finally feels like they're getting their heads out of their asses about Swerve, and they're gonna finally let the dude have some success. And I have not been more excited for an individual character in a really long time than I am for Swerve right now. I want the dude to take over the world, and even though I know that that's setting my expectation like unreasonably high, if we can aim that high and land somewhere just shy of that, I'll still be very happy for the guy because he's awesome.
There you go. All right, guys, time for New Japan. Ashton, you go first. So your honorable mentions.
Yeah, again, kind of going bottom up, so opposite order from what you do. Yuya Uemura, Yota Tsuji, Tangaloa, Kenta, Juice Robinson, Shingo, Jeff Cobb, Hiromu, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Sho, and Ishii.
All right. Honorable mentions for me, again, reverse of Ashton. So, person I first name is close to the list. Last is nowhere near.
I go bottom up, you go top down.
Top down, exactly. Kenta, Suzuki, Ishii, Sanada, Shingo, Naito, Tanahashi, Gorillas of Destiny.
Nice.
Number 5 for you.
Minoru Suzuki. Ah, ha, ha.
Excellent.
You had him as an honorable mention. I'm surprised. I'm curious to see who's in your actual Fave 5. Yeah, man, Suzuki, I don't know if... I think we've reached the point that Suzuki makes my list by default, because I had a pretty easy top 4, and then I was like, who do I put at 5? And then Suzuki just crossed my mind, and I was like, oh, that's easy. He's on the list. So, yeah, I mean, Suzuki is just perennially amazing. He's just a great performer. One of the 4 wrestling shirts that I own a Suzuki shirt, a DDM shirt, an Andrade shirt, and a Lucha Underground shirt. So, really, Suzuki's one of the 2 shirts that I own that are actually only just meant for individual performers, just to give you an idea of how much that means. He's just so goddamn good. Like, every match he's in, even tag matches, he makes better just by being in them. His presence alone makes a match more interesting to me. So yeah, Suzuki's awesome. He made 5 for me.
Absolutely. This even kind of surprised me again. I felt weird about New Japan even before Sakura Genesis. But number 5 for me, Great-O-Khan. I really like this dude. I like how he works. I like his look. I think I've said on live reactions, like, this is a gimmick that would have been a heel world champion in the 80s, done so well in our contemporary period. Yeah, I honestly hope that this dude is a future never openweight champion, and depending on his development, and especially New Japan's booking decisions, don't be surprised if you see this guy as a future IWGP heavyweight champion, honestly. I really do think he has the goods, and yeah, I'm just really happy for Oka that he has this kind of gimmick, and he's part of the Empire, and even though I don't care for the Empire, and especially its leader, Great-O-Khan might be one of the few redeeming things about the faction. So, good dude, and I'm not going to hold Ospreay's bullshit against him. He made number 5 for me. So next on your list?
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard, I did have Jeff Cobb on my honorable mention, so.
Right.
Number 4 for me actually is Okada.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Again, consummate pro, always entertaining matches, even in tag matches. Like, Okada's just untouchable. He's great. He's a freaky athlete. He's entertaining as hell. I'm looking forward to get more of him in the G1 than we've gotten over the last few months. But at the end of the day, he's still been killing it, even in the little bit of New Japan that we have watched. So, love Okada. Had him at number 4.
ZSJ at number 4 for me. Pretty much copy-paste what you said about Okada as far as, like, killing it and just really being entertaining. I always have a soft spot for technical wrestling. Anybody that knows me knows this. And when ZSJ is on his game, he's one of the more fun ones to watch. I remember saying a while back and I want to bring this talking point back because I just think it has been a while since I've said this. I really do think ZSJ is the future of how technical wrestling will be done. Not so much what you do, but how fast you can do it. It's actually kind of a similar thing that Olympic wrestling has seen in the Olympics. It was almost cut from the Olympic Games because it was so slow. People found it boring. They found a way to speed it up. Zach is probably thinking, one day people will probably find this chain wrestling boring, but how can we still make it look real and compelling while also being entertaining? Well, let me just see if I can do 5 submissions in less than 30 seconds. And yeah, I definitely think he's going to be very innovative in that way and how people actually do their chain wrestling, and he's damn good at it. Sometimes it looks a bit sloppy or a bit rushed, but I still just really enjoy it, and I pop every time. And I'm looking very much forward to seeing him in another G1 this year because I think that's where he really shines the most. That and the New Japan Cup every year. I think he always does really well in those. So, yeah, that was number 4 for me. Next for you?
Yeah, number 3 for me, God, fucking victim of the worst booking decision of the year, I think, Kota Ibushi.
This was 3 for you?
Yep.
I'm just going to say right now, he was also 3 for me.
Oh, cool. Let's praise him together then.
Absolutely. You go first, though, since this was your turn.
You know what? If I had to say, if I had to pick a best wrestler in the world right now, I think Ibushi would probably be my pick. I think just from a pure in-ring standpoint, I really do think that he is the most complete package in the ring. It really comes down to him and Okada, I think, for me. And I would put Ibushi just a notch above Okada right now because I think he brings more storytelling and facial expression management than Okada. Okada's facial expressions are limited to smug and annoyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okada, Ibushi has more range, I think, from an acting perspective in the ring. And I also think he can do anything Okada can do athletically, if not more. And I feel like Ibushi has really put it together over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, maybe. He's not as much of a run to spot, do it, sell, run to spot, do it, sell. He's not so formulaic anymore as he used to be, I feel like. So I've been loving Ibushi's work lately. Really, really unfortunate that New Japan had him lose the way he did to Ospreay. Not just that they had him lose, which is unfortunate in and of itself, but that they had him lose the way that he lost to Ospreay, I thought was pretty bullshit. So, still a huge fan. Still absolutely love what he's been doing, even though, the match with Ospreay wasn't good. The stuff he was doing prior to that was still great. And I look forward to seeing more of him.
I'm going to shoot straight at you guys. I don't think I can top what I said about Ibushi the last time we were here. Because what I said about Ibushi the last time we were here was Ibushi is fascinating to me in that we enjoy him, but I don't know if we should. I don't know if Ibushi is kind of like one of those last samurai before Japan kind of moves into another period, a period of modernity, say, where the samurai is no longer needed. Or if he's a renaissance of an art that maybe we should say goodbye to. Because the dude's crazy. The bumps he takes and the things that he does are insane. So I don't think anything can top the soliloquy I had about Ibushi last time. What I will say to add on to that soliloquy is regardless of what you consider Ibushi to be, a cautionary tale, a love letter, a renaissance, or a goodbye, it's a shame that New Japan didn't give Ibushi the chance to be what he wanted to be. Because Ibushi has said, I have a vision for pro wrestling, I have a style of pro wrestling I want to bring to the world, and there's no better way to bring it to the world than being the world champion. And really seeing if your style connects with people when you look at how much merch are you moving, how many butts are you putting in seats. And I don't think we really got the chance to find out because the title reign was so short. So to me, Ibushi is incredible. I copy-paste everything that Ashton just said. If people want to go back to the last 5 Fave Fives where I believe I did my soliloquy on Ibushi about how much I enjoy him, how much I'm kind of awed by him for a myriad of different reasons. But I would also say that shame on New Japan for really not taking the chance on him. And guys, let me just say too, not just because of the baggage that Ospreay comes with, but because Ibushi really is one of the most compelling wrestlers in the world right now. And apparently the one entity to disagree was the entity that had all the sway about Ibushi's future. And I find that very tragic. So he is number 3, and we'll see what the future holds for him.
Number 2 is Jay White for me.
Excellent. Talk about it.
I mean, again, just a complete performer. Great promos, great acting, great wrestling. This isn't a part of this grading period, but he and Ibushi put on what might be the best wrestling match I've ever seen in my life, a true masterpiece at Wrestle Kingdom. I feel like Jay hasn't done quite as much in recent months, but that doesn't mean that he's any less great. And really, we just haven't been watching as much in recent months. So it's hard to judge him negatively for what we haven't seen, when we also haven't seen him be worse, which isn't, I wouldn't expect him to be. So yeah, huge props to Jay White. Love him overall as a performer, and hoping to see more of him. Really, I'm just looking forward to the G1 at this point, which it won't even happen before our next commentary. But at least before our next commentary, our next Five Fave Fives, we will have watched 2 big New Japan shows, because they're doing one on the 29th of May and then another one early in June before our next Five Fave Five. So we'll have 2 in a row almost. And that should help us formulate some opinions better here than we did this time around.
Okay, number 2 for me, Okada.
Nice.
I mean, what is there to freaking say? The guy's been holding down the fort, and apparently he's been dealing with 2 slipped discs in his back.
Yeah.
And because he's been carrying the fucking company. Unlike other people lately who I've been dogging on and I've been saying, you haven't been carrying shit, what do you need your back for? With Okada, I can say, oh my God, dear sir, I am so sorry. It must have been such a heavy load. And honestly, I feel bad for Okada, because with the booking decision New Japan's been making, Okada's got to be looking at it and being like, shit, you're going to need another 6 months out of me, aren't you? Well, we really want Will to look good. Do you mind? Okay. And he's going to do it. And he's going to do it better than anybody. I don't know what it is about New Japan culture where guys like Tanahashi and now Okada can work well beyond the point where they're hurt. And the scary thing is still be fucking good at what they do. But I want Okada to get better. The young legend, he's already, I would hear people all the time saying, I don't disagree with this statement, by the way, but I would hear people all the time say that Asuka was Hall of Fame worthy just for her NXT run alone. Okada isn't even in his late 30s, and he's already like Hall of Fame bound for New Japan. Like, he is one of the, I would honestly say, he is one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of this era, if not the greatest. Like, the dude has nothing else to prove. If he retired tomorrow, would it be a huge fucking blow to New Japan? Absolutely. Would Okada have earned it? A qualitatively different statement? Hell the fuck yes. What else is there to do for this dude but continue to grow the company, which apparently is going to be a huge labor again, given their decisions. But my God, is he good. In fact, guys, Ashton's already said everything that I would like to say about Okada better than I ever could, because when he was extolling his praises at our year-end awards about the money clip and how versatile Okada is, that's pretty much why he's one of the best in the game to do it. This guy bet on himself that he was more than a move, which, if we're honest with ourselves, I would think a lot more performers are than we care to admit. And he won the fucking bet. I mean, fitting for a guy that calls himself the Rainmaker, right? This dude's untouchable. He is goddamn untouchable, and he knows it, and I love that he knows it. It's just such good shit. So I yield the floor. Who's next on your list?
Well, number 1, my man. Number 1 on my list. Might come as a surprise, might not. I wouldn't expect it to be, given how much everyone already knows I love this dude. It's Sonata.
Oh, excellent, dude. I fucking love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's been kind of growing over time, my love for Sonata, and I guess it's finally kind of hit its peak here with me putting him number 1 on my New Japan list. He's just so crispity and crunchity and smooth at the same time. How are you crispy and smooth at the same time? How does that even work? I don't understand how it works, but Sonata pulls it off. He's so smooth. His movements are so smooth, and his actual wrestling is so crisp and sharp and clean. He's clean as hell too, and like you've already mentioned, safe. Like he might be the most entertaining wrestler that I've ever seen never injure anyone ever.
Yes, absolutely.
And not even wrestle a style that's like injury prone or likely to cause injuries either. Like, that's the crazy thing, is like the riskiest thing that he does is like a moonsault, and that's it.
Yeah. Amazing. He's amazing.
He really is. And I love his look, and I love his fucking attitude, and like his fucking Yakuza vibe that he gives off all the time. Like, I just think he's awesome. He's just so cool to me. Big fan of Sonata. He's wonderful. Number 1 for you?
Jay White.
There it is.
I gotta say, guys, again, always want to keep it honest with you all. I think this is 90% derived from his promos. Because, like, I'll actively go on New Japan's channel just to watch his backstage comments after his matches, even on the shows that we don't watch. I love listening to this dude talk. I would say he's one of the best promos in the game today, personally. I think he's a really compelling personality. I think, because, you know, I think it was you said about Ibushi a little bit ago, like the last few years, like he's really put it together for you, like in the ring. I think you and I can agree that Jay White's really put it together in the ring as well. His matches just feel different lately.
Yep.
I think everything has just become really snug in there. He really execute impeccably. Little chef's kiss there for him. And yeah, I think he's just really rounded himself out, and he's become a really well-rounded performer. And honestly, I look forward to him being world champion again. Because that one reign he got, you know, I get it. Maybe you just wanted to get him that instant heat, whatever, and then you do MSG with Okada where he drops it. I've been waiting for him to regain the title, honestly, and fuck Ospreay. I don't care who beats him for it. Jay White, though, better be a multi-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Of course, though, my faith in New Japan is finally come into question. I never wanted this day to come, but I am in a weird place with them.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day the last rock and rolla will be brandishing that hardware again. So, yeah, Jay White rounds it out. And now we move on to Stardom. Oh, I couldn't wait for this one. I go first with honorable mentions, as we know, guys. I'm top to bottom. Ashton's bottom to top. So, God, out of context, that would be weird. So, starting off my honorable mentions, we have got Momo Watanabe. Really debated that one. I thought this was finally going to be her time. Azumi, Utami, Mina Shirakawa, Unagi Sayaka, Himeka, Sayaka Mitani, Natsupoi, and Julia. Oof.
Wow.
So, honorable mentions for you, good sir.
Again, bottom to top, Mina Shirakawa, Shuri, Sayaka Mitani, Julia, Konami, Saki Kashima, and Mayu Iwatani.
All right. Dude, this is why I said at the start, Momo was a big debate for me because up until a few hours ago, she had the number 5 spot, but I really thought about it, and I'm like, no. I want to acknowledge somebody else, Saki Kashima, number 5.
Nice.
She is so goddamn good, and I can't be the one, because I know I squawk about it a lot, and yes, I said squawk, I am aware, about how this woman deserves better without giving her better myself. She has been fucking dynamite this quarter. I love that she's part of a heel faction, and yet she seems to be its best babyface. Because, she really is. Oh, there are 3 women standing across from me, and I'm the only one standing between my faction winning and losing? Well, I guess it's time to revive our chances. I know it's revival, but you all get what I was trying to do. You know what I'm about. And she does it. And she does it so goddamn well. I almost want Saki to one day, once again, be a babyface, just not with stars. Maybe be a Cosmic Angel. Maybe be her own faction or whatever, because god damn is she so good at those underdog performances. I just picture her going against a World of Stardom champion that's really dominant, maybe even a Julia. We know Julia likes to bully the fuck out of people, and Saki just doesn't quit. And it gets us sucked in, because I'm telling you, dude, I think Saki has that juice effect where you may even like the other person more than them going into a match, but they get you to root for them by the end of it. That is 100% Saki Kashima to me. I want her to challenge for the Wonder of Stardom title this year. If she doesn't, I have to say that is a rare mishap by Stardom. And I love her, and she deserves the world. And I just want to continue to see her grow. It sucks that she missed the Cinderella tournament. I was so looking forward to her being a part of it. But I hope that she'll still make the 5-star, and that nothing happens between now and then, because her matches will be fucking bangers this year. So yeah, Saki starts off my list. I yield the floor to you, good sir.
Alrighty. Well, number 5 for me was Momo Watanabe. So it's funny that you were debating having her there. And I actually had Saki at what effectively would come out to 7, the second highest honorable mention for me. So we're both kind of similar on these 2 women. Momo, though, obviously, she just does it for me a little more than she does it for you. I think that her in-ring is exceptional. I think the thing that really pushed her over the top for me was the match with Mina, because I do think Mina is getting a lot better in the ring, but we've also seen her have some less than great matches lately. And at the end of the day, Momo brought that out of her, I think. I think Momo made a huge difference as an opponent for Mina. I think Momo's one of those talents, almost like a Sasha Banks, where you can put her in there with just about anyone and she'll make them look a lot better than they really are. I think she's just that damn good.
Facts all the way down. I don't have any disputation with anything you've just said. So continuing right along, number 4, Konami.
Oh,
I've come to really think of Konami as the most stunning bridesmaid in all of Stardom.
Oh.
Because, and I definitely agree with your sentiments, she's so good, but Stardom values her for how much better she makes everybody else look. And that's really a shame, because Konami is part of that breed, which my heart is just overjoyed that that's slowly becoming a bit more normal. May even become the new trend one day, where you're really good in the ring, but you didn't forget to put EXP for stuff outside of it. She has such a huge personality. She's menacing and hilarious at the same time. And in fact, the one word that I would use to just kind of paint the Konami with that brush would be unnerving, in just the best ways when she talks or her body language. Her match with Shuri was fantastic. When she takes anybody to the mat, it's fantastic. Hell, her fucking Cinderella tournament matchup where she got eliminated. I even forget who. I think it was Micah. That's right. It was Micah. You know, when Micah tried the suplex and Konami gets a guillotine while they're both standing on the apron. Brilliant, seamless sequence. She is so good at everything. To me, Konami could be one of the best white belt champions of all time if Stardom gives her that chance. And to be perfectly honest, if I was running Stardom, I'd have no qualms putting the red belt on Konami. I just don't think she's ever going to get there. And that, again, to me, personally, is a tragedy. But she still gets loved here. Konami is absolutely wonderful at what she does, and I'll always root for her, whatever the future holds. And I think when Jungle comes back, I'm assuming Jungle is going to want a match with Konami, and that could very easily be a match of the year contender with the story and everything else, so be on the lookout. But again, yield the floor to you. Who's next?
I agree with you on that for sure. Jungle Konami is money, for sure.
Yeah.
Number 4 for me, though, someone else that's been money lately, Starlight Kid.
Yes.
Yeah, Kid really has just been absolutely killing it lately in the ring. I don't know if her Wonder of Stardom title shot against Julia was during this grading period, but it might have been. And if it was, that just emboldens me even more to have her as high on the list as I do. She, I think, is kind of growing into her own in a way. She's really rounding out as a performer. She's learning kind of the pacing of the matches. I think she's kind of becoming her own little version of an in-ring general. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
And I've really just been loving to watch her grow, watch her learn, watch her improve over time. I don't think we've ever seen a Starlight Kid that I would have called bad or sloppy in any way. I just think that she's gone from good enough with a good gimmick to cover up any weak spots to genuinely just fucking good. Like, she's just really fucking good now.
Yeah. All right. Number 3 for me, Shuri. Just continues to set the world on fire. I think everything I said about Konami you could copy paste, but up it one. Level it up, if you will. She is pristine in that ring. Her strikes make me wince. And when she talks, you believe it. Like, she could be goofy, as her recent interaction with Utami can attest. But, dude, when she's serious, I will never forget, for as long as I live, B doing her shtick. Shuri just happened to hear it, which I would hope so. She was sharing the ring. And rather than shaking it off, no, man, Shuri's like, I know you just didn't say that about me. I'm not the one that sucks. You suck. Let's settle it. I love that she can flip that switch. And when she's serious and she sees you, it's just like all feeling leaves your body because you didn't want to be seen by Shuri, and now it's happened. She is genuinely menacing, but also adorable. You asked how you could just have Sonata be both crispy and what was the other word you said? Smooth?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how you could be both menacing and adorable at the same time, but Shuri found a way. She's like, I ain't telling you. But yeah, like this is a woman, I don't know if she'll ever be world champion, but if Stardom was ever in a period of who's the most legit wrestler we fucking have that will just make us look like the most, again, legitimate wrestling company on the planet, kind of take New Japan's formula, but fine-tune it and do it better than they're doing it, Shuri's fucking it. Like, because I don't know, like the same way with the SWA title, I don't know when you put that world title
on. If there was
ever
a Joshi shoot fighting championship tournament, Stardom would want Shuri to be their rep.
Exactly. Abso-fucking-lutely. So yeah, Shuri comes in at number 3 for me. Handing the baton back to you, sir. Who's next on your list?
Number 3 on my list is the first big surprise of my list. You ready for this, John?
Yes.
Boy!
Oh my God.
Yes, Natsupoi, number 3 on my list. Good Lord, this woman. You know, we've been praising a lot of the women in Stardom, especially for, you know, being up there among the best in the world and really just being kind of that can't miss kind of character. And I feel like that really embodies Natsupoi, or I guess she embodies that. She is can't miss. And I should specify when I say can't miss, I'm not necessarily saying you can't miss one of her matches, which I would advise you don't, but, you know, it's not the end of the world if you do. What I'm saying is she can't have a bad match. She is incapable of having a bad match. Every single one. Dude, she had a good match with Lady C. And I don't remember any of Lady C's matches. The one I do, the one with Natsupoi. She's that damn good. Natsupoi is a special in-ring talent, I think. She's still on the younger side. I think she's only like 25, 26 maybe. And let me look. I'm going to look real quick here. Yeah, she's 25. So she's still on the younger side. She's younger than Mayu. You know, she's right around Konami's age. She's on the younger side. And damn, the fact that she is the high-speed champion right now, she had an amazing high-speed match with Azumi, and then she immediately goes up and says, oh, I'm not limiting myself to just high speed, I'm going for the Wonder of Stardom title, puts on a Match of the Year candidate with Tam. She's so good. I think it's another one of those things, too, where I've been saying I wanted to put her on a Fave 5 for a while now, and I just actually thought about it enough to really get her on there this time because she deserves it. She's that damn good.
Cutest rock and roller, baby. Just she's fucking owning the world right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 2, Tam Nakano. Jesus Christ. One of the best wrestlers in the world right now. And we've been saying that repeatedly lately. She's so good at everything. Jesus.
Carry the 2 thing.
Yeah, like promos. Unbelievable. How she can make any feud seem more personal than it actually is. Unbelievable. In the ring. Look. Natsupoi. I hard endorse everything my court and commentator just said. But you calling Tam, and I quote, a low-speed ass. We have different speed limits, apparently, and that's understandable because you are the high-speed champion. Forever may you reign.
You know why she said that, though, right?
Why?
Because there was a point in time that Tam called herself the low-speed champion.
Well, right, and we've been over that, but it's like, yeah, that was then, and this is now, and it's like, Tam's character evolution that everybody that's gotten into Stardom and has been a Tam Nakano fan has talked about. Like, everybody. You guys listen to us. Stroke of a Goga Metal's another one. People that are getting into Stardom on Twitter have all talked about Tam's character progression. And it's beautiful. It's wrestling at its finest. Cosmic Angels is beautiful. I love that it's just stayed the 3 of them. I don't know how much longer that can be expected to be because I feel like Stardom at least likes 5 people minimum for their factions to be a nice, healthy number. But this is a trio that has such a synergy and such a bond. I'm invested. And you could see Mina Shirakawa is improving. Unagi, I think, is having a wonderful story growing. And Tam, see, I feel like what Tam is going through as the Wonder of Stardom champion isn't, yes, Foster, I said it, and you know what, I stand by it, and I bet you Kona Reeves is a Tam Nakano fan too, because even he has a bare minimum of taste. And Tam, this whole thing with the Wonder of Stardom Championship, I don't think it's an accident. Her not necessarily being dominant, her getting pinned by Natsupoi, her getting eliminated by Kamitani for the Cinderella tournament. Because I feel like Tam, she's always struggling to find out who she is. She's always struggling to be the woman she wants to be. She's traversing the cosmos really to find herself. And I think this Wonder of Stardom title reign is going to be her biggest test. Like, can I be the champion that I expected myself to be when I chased this title, that Julia expected of me when she lost this title? Because Julia even said, like, look, I got this title, the main event. You got to carry it on now. You've got to carry it on now. And I think the story is, can Tam do that? Because it's been kind of a struggle for her. And I don't think anybody can tell that story better than Tam Nakano. And I think I'm going to go on the record and saying, even though we're still in the early stages of it, I think Tam will go down as one of the best Wonder of Stardom champions of all time. I have that faith in her because she really is on top of her fucking game right now. And I don't think anybody can knock her off. Which, the way I'm talking about her, you'd think she was number one. But I'll extol the virtues of the person that is number one. You guys already know what's coming. But in the meantime, handing it over to Ashton here.
I know I do. I know what's coming. But my number two, and I'm surprised that she missed your list, even though she was effectively number 7 for you. Azumi is my number.
Yes.
I mean, again, she had a great high-speed title match, which she lost to Natsupoi. She's been killing it ever since. Every time she's in a tag match, again, it's almost like Suzuki. She makes the tag match better and more interesting just for her being in it. She is so entertaining. She's so fast. I feel like she's still getting better, which makes sense because she's only 18. But when you're already as good as she is, it's hard to believe that it's even possible, and yet she's doing it. Because I feel like her like double springboard arm drag crossbody type thing that she does is getting cleaner. Like, she's doing it faster and without as much like slipping on the ropes and stuff. So like, she's getting better in that perspective, in that way. And like, she's charismatic as hell. Her promos are great. She's sassy as hell. I just love Azumi. She's the complete package, man. And over the 18 years old, it's unbelievable, honestly.
I'm telling you, dude, when she really, like, ages into her ability, because, like you're saying, she's getting older and you see things getting sharper, she's going to be in the same conversation that Io Shirai was when she was in Stardom, as just the best wrestler in the world.
Absolutely.
I bet money on it. So, yeah, moving it right along, number 1, Starlight Kid.
Yep.
Like, Starlight Kid, to me, just to keep it somewhat brief, embodies everything I love about pro wrestling, and that's watching somebody actively get better. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't even know if Starlight Kid somewhere in her life became Starlight Adult, and that's why this happened. But man, she has upped her game just everywhere. The in-ring is just, oh my god, the cloverleaf, the tornado star suplex, the moonsault, everything. The match with Julia, I'm just going to get ahead of this just so that I don't forget saying this. The match with Julia convinced me that she can be a world champion. Like, before, I had put her ceiling at, like, oh, the best she'll ever be is a Wonder of Stardom champion. That's it. I believe she can be a world champion. And I can believe she could be a great babyface world champion like Mayu has been in the past. I really do.
Yeah.
Her promos, she speaks with sincerity, and you can see she's puffing her chest out. I love that she has no fucks about taking the mic from people, whether it's Momo, whether it's fucking Julia. I think she even stepped up to Yoshiko. Nanae Takahashi. She don't give a fuck. Yeah. Wow, Foster, I just have to pause and give you legitimate credit for that burn. That was honestly impressive. You can stay. But Starlight Kid, she's killing it. I want her to win the Cinderella tournament. Hell, I wouldn't give a fuck if she won the 5-star amidst to see if, it was Julia's year or was so-and-so's year. I don't care. I want Starlight Kid to do all the things. And I've seen her interactions with Utami in tag matches. You tell me that they wouldn't have a great World of Stardom title match. Where,
dude, there's history there, too. Utami beat Kid for the future title. Kid eliminated Utami from a big battle royal, the Stardom Rumble, I think it was, in like 2018 or something like that. Like, yeah, they have history, man.
Like, bro, the false finishes in that match alone would make me lose my goddamn mind.
Yep.
I was a fan of hers going into the Julia matchup, but even my expectations were blown, and I had to reassess how much I not only love Starlight Kid, but how much I evaluate her in Stardom scheme. this is a main eventer waiting to happen. And I know it's going to happen because she's going to make it happen with how much she's been improving. Starlight Kid maintains her number one spot. And to be honest, this is the first time, maybe even more so than when Konami, was having her run. I don't see anybody knocking Starlight Kid off that perch for a while. She's got me locked in deep. So, with that said, I yield it to you. Who's next on your list?
I love it. And you know what? Here's the thing. We were talking earlier. I mentioned Io, getting unseated as number one on my NXT list for the first time in 2 years. And I talked about how she's among the best wrestlers in the world among women. And I think she's, Sasha Banks is up there too. I think Mayu is definitely up there as well. But at the end of the day, I really genuinely do think that the best female wrestler in the world right now is Tam Nakano, and she's my number one in Stardom.
I knew it. I was even thinking with our Stardom list, I'm like, I bet, because you were the one that even broached that Tam's the best wrestler in the world. You said that before I did.
Yep.
And I'm like, I knew it was coming. So take it away, man.
Yeah, I don't think that you're going to find a more complete wrestler than Tam. The thing is, just the way she moves, you don't really think of her as this elite athlete, but this is a woman that does flying knee strikes off the top rope. She's done Arisa's, I forget, 1499, I think it was called. I don't remember the exact name of the move, but the basically the roundhouse kick off the top rope. She does amazing fucking bridges, which requires a degree of athleticism in and of itself. She is a complete performer. There is nothing that she could possibly want or need to do that she cannot do. Her emotional investment that she creates, she just fucking poof like a fucking magician. She gets you invested in her storylines out of nothing. She just does, she'll just say stuff, or she'll do stuff, or she'll tweet something. She just finds a way to make sure that people are invested in what she is doing at all times, and she does it in a way that doesn't feel like her sort of being a mark for herself or anything masturbatory or anything along those lines. It all feels completely organic. It all feels completely earned, which I think is even more important. And then she gets in the ring and has 5-star classics with even just good opponents. She doesn't need to be in the ring with Julia every single time, or with Mayu every single time, which if that match does happen, holy shit, be ready, because it might actually unseat White Ibushi, as unlikely as anything unseating that may be. If anything's going to do it, it's an emotional match between Tam and Mayu, for fuck's sakes. And yeah, I really do just genuinely believe that she is the best all-around female performer in the entire wrestling world right now.
Yeah, dude, fucking testify, brother. All right. The other category, which encompasses all promotions outside of the Stardom, New Japan, NXT, and WWE purview. So I will let you go I'm going to let you know, brother. Actually, I never really have honorable mentions for these. So this is all you if you have any honorable mentions.
Okay, yeah, sure. Again, bottom up. Yuki Kamifuku, a.k.a. Kamiyu. Yuka Sakazaki. Miyu Yamashita. Penta L0M. And Darby Allin are my honorable mentions.
Okay, you guys know other is notoriously difficult for me, but again, I have no honorable mentions. So, Ashton, do you want to continue right along and give your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 from the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament, Veni, a.k.a. Asuka.
Yes, awesome.
I thought she was great. And actually, I feel almost like I shouldn't be saying she, because I want to say they identify with they, them pronouns, so I'm going to say they are excellent, freakishly athletic, extremely convincing acting-wise as far as selling and, selling emotions and moves and pain and all that stuff. Very strong, kind of almost like a Joshi Bianca Belair in a way, in that sense, that they're strong and they're athletic at the same time, which is very rare. Normally, if you're strong, it's because you're big and hulking and not all that great at movement. Or if you're super athletic, it's because you're kind of a skinny, frail person with not so much power. Veni covers both of those, again, like Bianca Belair. And again, I also think Veni is very charismatic. I think that the match that Veni had at or in the Eliminator tournament was very good, but not as much as they could have shown. I wish that we would have gotten more from them. I wish that we could see more from them. I wish that they would be able to work more promotions that we're more familiar with, like Stardom or TJPW or even AEW, just so that we would have more access to seeing them. But at the end of the day, I was just very impressed by their talent, and I would like to see them more often going forward.
All right. Number 5 for me, MJF. I'm loving that he's got his own faction now.
Keeping it easy, baby. Keeping it easy.
Keeping it easy always. Loving that he's got his own faction now. AEW may finally put the world title on him, which I feel like they should have done ages ago. Still enjoying his promo work. Still enjoying him in the ring. But nothing really more to say than that. Back to you, brother. Who's next on your list?
All right, number 4 on my list is Mai Suruga, a.k.a. May St. Michelle, and this applies to both the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament and TJPW, where she is May St. Michelle. She is a really fucking good talent, and she's super young, too. I think she's only like 22 years old. I'm Googling real quick. Joshi City, hook me up. Come on, Joshi City, where are you? There it is. Do you have an age? God, it's loading slowly. This is so awkward.
So while we're waiting for that, how are you guys doing?
She's 21! She's 21!
Okay.
She's 21 years old. She's super quick. She's super cute. She's super charming. She's really good at actual wrestling. She's also got some really cool comedy spots that... Normally, you know I'm not the biggest fan of comedy wrestling, but she pulls them off very well, I think. And she doesn't do them in such a way that, like, undermines the integrity of the match. I think her comedy spots are more like Colt Cabana-style comedy spots, where it's like, you can tell that she's doing it to be entertaining, but also trying to actually win the match. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Mai Suruga, a.k.a. May St. Michelle. And that's another thing. She and Saki-sama as a team in TJPW are awesome. I love them together.
Awesome, man. I always love your other list because I think you always like brought in a lot of perspectives here. 4 for me, Jon Moxley. Again, nice. a lot like MJF. I'm still loving the promos, and I actually watched a clip from AEW's latest episode. He fucked up Kenny Omega with like 2 paradigm shifts, and then they put him in a chokehold. I just love the intensity that Moxley brings to everything. And I saw GIFs from the exploding barbed wire death match, and I know it had the really like cartoonish, really just outright stupid finish. But the idea that he's willing to like put himself through that just to do what he loves to do, and that's wrestle the way he wants to wrestle, the dude's insane. I love him for it though. And I still think he's like one of the best talkers in the game. I just wish we saw him in New Japan more. I would kill for another Moxley G1 stint in New Japan, because that's where I think he really got to shine, was being in a G1. I want to see that again. So 4 is Moxley for me.
All right, awesome. I love the list so far on your end, man. Number 3 for me, Saki Akai, a.k.a. Saki-sama in TJPW. Again, she is a team with May St. Michelle, a.k.a. Mai Suruga. I absolutely love... Honestly, if we got to watch more of Saki-sama, Saki Akai, whatever you want to call her. She goes by 2 different identities, depending on how she feels that day, I guess. If we got to see more of her, she would make it to number 1 on this list, I'm convinced. Because as a talent, she's fucking incredible. She is... I think she has the best psychology I've ever seen a Joshi have outside of Stardom. Now, obviously, when I say outside of Stardom, Stardom kind of also encompasses Kairi and Io. So, including those 2 as being from Stardom, I think Saki Akai has the best in-ring psychology of anyone I've ever seen outside of Stardom. So, she's excellent. She's the really, I don't know if you remember her, John, she's the really tall, lanky woman that comes out like a French aristocrat.
Yeah.
She's just so fucking good. I think, like I said, if you and I would watch more of her, if we were able to get more exposure to her, she would make it to number 1 on this list really easily for me. I just think she's just an exceptional talent. Her character work is beyond an A+. It's an 11 out of 10. Her in-ring work is like a solid 8.5 out of 10. She's a complete performer, and she's absolutely, she's a former model. She's gorgeous. She's stunning. And like a lot of women that look as good as her could absolutely get away with just getting by on that. And she's like, no, I'm putting in the work. I'm going to be really fucking good at this too. And she is, and it works, and I love it. I love the overall package. Absolutely love Saki-sama. Ready for your next number 3 on your list.
Finally getting to celebrate a woman on this list, and I couldn't think of anybody more deserving than Thunder Rosa.
Nice.
She is really, really freaking good in the ring. I know a lot of people made a big deal out of the hardcore match she had with Britt Baker, and I'm not against Britt Baker by any means, but I definitely think Thunder Rosa should get more credit in that match. I think a lot of people have focused on Britt Baker. I'm not saying nobody's focused on Rosa. I'm just saying more people should. I love that she's gotten more visibility in the wrestling world. I think she's still doing NWA Power. She's obviously done the stuff with AEW. Would love to see her swing back around, do some Stardom stuff again, because I think she did have a brief stint with them, didn't she?
Yeah. She actually, I think she's even had a World of Stardom Championship opportunity at one point.
It's weird because for some reason, and maybe this is just my own ignorance, that is entirely possible, folks. I am not nearly as smart as I claim to be. But I feel like Thunder Rosa is like one of the best women's wrestlers like going right now that we don't talk about nearly enough. And I say it's funny because she gets TV exposure like the Biancas, the Sashas, and if you're really into wrestling, she's got a platform like the Stardom girls, with Bushiroad and everything backing them up. But it just seems like she's never in that conversation when I just feel like she should be. So I just wanted to show her some love. Wonderful human being, wonderful performer, and I just want to see her stock continue to grow throughout 2021 because I think she could do even more than what she's doing now, and that's kind of terrifying. So next on your list?
Well, I also wanted to just kind of issue a correction. She never got a World of Stardom Championship match. The one big singles match that she got was for the high speed title, but it was when Mayu held it, so it's still a big deal.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And then she went to TJPW and won the International Princess Championship off Maki Ito a couple years ago and had to relinquish it because of the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2 on my list, though, Rey Fénix.
Ah, nice.
Dude, again, this is another example. If we watched more of Rey Fénix, he would make it to number 1 so easily. Like, he is, I think, the most talented. Now, I want to specify, I'm not saying the best. I'm saying the most talented. Because to me, the best is still Ibushi. The most talented pro wrestler in the world. Just purely from a talent standpoint, this dude lifts up 300-pounders and makes it look easy, like it's nothing, like he's not even trying. And he can do the shit that he can do on the ropes. And he gets the air that he gets when he jumps off the ropes. And he's got some of the most creative spots in wrestling. Like, Rey Fénix, to me, is on another level. He thinks on another level. And frankly, I'm glad he's not in WWE because it allows him to stay creative, which I think is really one of the best aspects of his in-ring work, is his creativity. I just saw... I think it was against the Young Bucks. He grabbed one of their hands, jumped up to the top rope, super kicked the other one, bounced off the middle rope, back up to the top rope, jumped off, went into a Rana on the dude that he super kicked, and Rana'd him down while holding the other dude's hand the whole damn time. Like, he's like mind-bogglingly, insanely talented. And I am not an AEW fan, but I will probably never stop being a Rey Fénix fan, even if he stays in AEW for the rest of his career. And frankly, that might be for the best for him. Because again, it allows him to keep creative going. It allows him to continue thinking differently the way that he does. They're not going to stifle that the way that NXT and WWE absolutely would. The only other place that I really want to see him in is New Japan. And even then, he'd probably be a junior, which would probably limit him as far as his potential opponents go. So really, as unfortunate as it is that AEW has the problems that it has that makes it hard for me to watch and get into, it probably still is the best place for him because of the way that his brain works and the type of talent that he is.
Number 2 for me, Darby Allin.
Beautiful.
I love that AEW seems to see more value in him because they've kind of associated him with Sting. He's the TNT champion. I saw a clip from his latest defense against Matt Hardy where he did the coffin drop like 20 feet in the air. That looked pretty brutal.
Dude, between that and the cinematic match with him and Sting versus Team Taz, those are the two big things that got him in my honorable mentions.
Yeah. Yeah, I it's funny because I know you and I don't care for, and especially when it's like really gratuitous and stuff like that, like the hardcore wrestling. Darby Allin might be the best like hardcore wrestler going right now, and I know Mox is still a thing, and that's why I said one of the best and not the best because there is a debate to be had there. But Allen's just compelling, and I could see him being a world champion because I think he's got that Jeff Hardy factor with, I hope, none of the Jeff Hardy baggage, in the future. I see a lot of value in Darby Allin, and again, I think AEW does as well, so this is a point where we actually converge in agreement, and I'm just excited to see him grow further. I'll be checking in on him here and there, and if they ever wins the big one, that might be a match that I'd have to go out and look at in full, just to see what he did to himself to get there. So, yeah, Darby Allin number 2 for me.
Am I up with my number 1?
Yep, you're up, brother. Jesus, you actually...
It's my tell.
You actually scared me there. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, no, because you just exploded there. You're like, oh, is it my turn? I'm like, yeah, and then you just immediately go to an 11, and it caught me off guard, and I'm just like, holy shit. Jesus.
Yeah, that's her thing that she does. She'll yell in the middle of the ring, which means, like, I'm sorry I kept you waiting, and then she'll go up in the corner, and she'll say, Sekaiichi kawaii no wa, which means who's the cutest in the world, and then everyone will yell, Ito-chan, and she'll punch him and say, arigato.
Yeah. Does it really need explaining, brother? I mean, we know how great Maki Ito is, unless she's done anything new that you want to mention here.
No, it doesn't really need explaining. I mean, the thing is, you've heard how great Maki Ito and her gimmick are from me on one of these commentaries, like maybe 2 or 3 commentaries ago, where I literally had her as my number 1 overall performer in the world. And, she's not still there, but she's still number 1 outside of the 4 major promotions that we cover. So, yeah, absolutely love Maki Ito, number 1 on my other list.
Yeah, I'm going to keep mine brief as well. Number 1, Juice Robinson. How does this work? He's the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champion. That's how it works.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I game the fucking system because I'm a god. But yeah, Juice is still one of the best promos. He's incredibly undervalued everywhere he goes because people seem to look at him and they're like, yeah, you're good, but we made this guy Ocean Spray our world champion, so fuck you. You know what? No. In this case, fuck you. All right? Juice deserves a hell of a lot better. Yeah, exactly, ghetto. Fucking your ideas are in the fucking ghetto. Fucking, you put him in this tag team with fucking David Finlay. I'm not even gonna, make fun of him, whatever. I'm trying to be a bit gentler while also being fair. But look, he's boring, okay? He doesn't move the needle. He doesn't do anything for me. I get that it's just my opinion, but I'm feeling myself right now, so I'm going with it.
He's white Yoshihashi.
Exactly. Fucking gaijin garbage. But Juice Robinson out here making anything work. And because Juice is such a genuine dude, he's like, no, you know what? I'm happy to see my friend succeed. Bruh, listen to me. You are too good for this planet. And I love you for it. But this is a selfish industry. Put yourself over, goddammit. Because I'm telling you, fucking Ocean Spray did. Even in spite of everything, he went the route of, oh man, all this bullying, aka holding me accountable, really made me want to kill myself for a bit. Well, I don't know. Maybe listen. Maybe really wonder why that is. But no, he gets the world title. Why? Because he never had to apologize. He just kept doing his thing. And New Japan's like, oh, well, that works for us. And you're exciting in the ring. You go. Nobody is going to make you root for him harder than Juice Robinson. Even against people that you think you love. You think like, oh, they can murder a puppy in front of me and I would still buy their merch. You get Juice in that ring, he will squeeze even a drop of sympathy out of you where you're happy he kicked out of a move that should have ended it or when he hits left hand to God. Anything this dude does at any given point, will just be like, oh my God, I'm so happy, or oh my God, go Juice. And he may not even realize it. But that's the effect this dude has. And you stick him in a fucking tag team. See, no, I sat on this. Because I wondered if anybody thought it was weird. Wow, John didn't have Juice in the New Japan Fave 5. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because New Japan doesn't even acknowledge Juice the way that he should be acknowledged. The idea that Ospreay beat him with the world title, not surprising, not even unexpected. It's still gross. It's still disgusting. When we watched in the G1 this year, Juice versus Naito, who at the time was world champion, And we're thinking, man, wouldn't it be great if Juice beat Naito? Wouldn't it be great if he got that upset win and at least got the challenge for the world title or even the Intercontinental title because the belts were still together at the time? Didn't happen. Didn't happen. He ate the fucking loss. And I just watched certifiable fucking garbage dominate a guy that chased a world title for 2 years. Dominate him. 95% of that match was him. And Juice has to settle for being an Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champion and still is a company guy because he says, you know, I would love to defend these babies in New Japan. You know, New Japan, maybe it's still residual effect from Sakura Genesis, but I'm going to say you don't deserve Juice Robinson. You've been good to Juice Robinson, far better than NXT was. I will give you that all day, every day. But if you can't really see the fucking player you have here, a real top guy that just happens to be a gaijin at the same time, I honestly don't know what to say to you. But what I will say is that at a time when babyfaces are turning a corner for me, the same guy that said, oh, heels are fucking great. Isn't it wonderful to be an awful person? Wow, that really didn't age well. Babyfaces have rehabilitated themselves for me because they're not cookie cutter. Well, golly gee, guys, I ate dirt today, but we'll be eating victory tomorrow if we just keep our heads up and all that crap. Juice is honest. Juice is like, yeah, it sucks to be me right now. Yeah, I'm in a company with the best wrestlers in the world. But if I can outperform myself, maybe, just maybe, that's okay. You're going to take that sincerity and be like, wow, that's really touching and that's really relatable. Here, team with this Pillsbury Doughboy knockoff and win the tag titles. I'm sorry I couldn't help myself. Fuck you, New Japan. Fuck you. At Impact, at least you gave him a title, so I can't really rain on you. But the idea that any company cannot look at this dude and scream world champion, I don't understand pro wrestling anymore. And quite frankly, with that judgment, I don't want to understand pro wrestling anymore. I yield my time.
Well, you don't really have any time to yield because up next is our Universal Top 10s. And guess who's going first?
Is it me? Is it me? Oh my God. Number 10 for me is Shuri. Back to you.
Beautiful. Number 10 for me, Rey Fenix.
All right. Number 9 for me, Kevin Owens.
Oh, how perfect. Number 9 for me, Sami Zayn.
Forever. Number 8 for me, Santos Escobar.
Nice. Number 8 for me, Azumi.
7. A swing is in the air, Cesaro.
Wow. 7 for me, Sanada.
6 for me, Bianca Belair.
6 for me, Maki Ito.
We get to the top 5 now. Rounding out the top 5, Johnny Gargano.
Wow. My number 5, Daniel Bryan.
Ooh. Number 4 for me, Tam Nakano.
Number 4 for me, Io Shirai.
You love to see it. Number 3 for me, Roman Reigns.
Number 3 for me, Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Damn. Number 2 for me, you made it, a kid, Daniel Bryan.
Number 2 for me, Roman Reigns.
Number 1 for me, Starlight Kid.
And number 1 for me, Tam Nakano.
I love this one.
Dude,
this is a great
how
episode.
elite would it be if Starlight Kid won the Cinderella tournament and challenged Tam and we had both of our number 1s facing each other for the title?
I want it.
I do too.
Guys, I had a lot of fun with this one. Especially talking about Juice and Daniel Bryan, who finally, well, again, he's done it before, but that was with just god tier fucking heel stuff.
But
finally, as a babyface,
acknowledged him.
Yeah, somewhere Roman Reigns senses a disturbance. But yeah, guys, these commentaries are always great, and honestly, this might be one of the shorter ones we've done because I have to give myself credit here. I really kept it succinct for a lot of the people. So I am proud of myself.
I'm keeping it much more succinct today as well because my tongue and my mouth hurt like a bitch because I got fillings today on the left side of my face and they numbed the shit out of me and I'm pretty sure I bit my tongue a couple of times and the inside of my mouth and they both hurt and I had to take Tylenol while we were live because of the pain. So I've been talking less because of it.
You know something? From where I sit, your face was still fucking epic for the entire runtime, not only for enduring the pain, but for spitting facts at the same time. King shit.
Thank you.
King shit, sir.
Thank you.
But I'm asking you seriously in this case, do you want me to just do the outro to give you a break?
You know what, dude? I actually also, yes, first of all, yes. But second of all, did you want to get some Among Us going maybe after this, since we didn't do it on Monday with the fam?
I do have rice cooking that should be done like around 7:30, but you guys know I can eat and play, and in the meantime, yeah, I can play while it's cooking, so I'm down with that.
That is going to make Abel such a happy boy.
Aw, I like making Abel happy. You're beautiful, and you deserve all the things, and I will cut anyone that says otherwise. Except Foster, because I know Foster likes to be cheeky, and he's also beautiful and deserves all the things, and I will also cut anyone that says otherwise. My knife gonna get busy. All right. Well, guys, with that said, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top result for I guess 5 Fave Fives for ranking people on YouTube. And when you're making lists and judging others, you better be the best judger of all the judges, and that's what we are. So leave that like. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you keep up with all that TWitWoW goodness. And yeah, just keep up with everything that we're doing. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. And yeah, follow us both on Twitter. You know the whole deal. I'm not going to do a really extensive outro because honestly, I'm in a really good mood and I'm just buzzing. I can't wait to get to Among Us. Which, if you want to play Among Us, fucking donate $3 to TWitWoW Discord. Hit us up with your deets. We'll fucking get you in there, and then you can join us, and then we can have a bigger lobby, which means more people to kill. So yeah, as far as recordings go, it is tomorrow. Tomorrow we are doing another Twitch stream for the post Wrestlemania 37 Smackdown. So going to be far more attentive to this one because Smackdown is the superior show. I'm curious what they're going to do about the Universal title picture. Really, where Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn are going next. Like those three acts especially. I'm not too worried about the women because I'm pretty sure Sasha and Bianca are going to have a rematch relatively soon. So yeah, for me, it's the Universal title and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro that I'm most keeping an eye out for. And I guess Seth too. What does he do after a loss, right? So yeah, we will see you guys then at 8. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and until we see each other again, tune in, peace out.